If you think getting rich is hard, you're solving the wrong problem. Why do some people earn six figures and still worry about bills, while others make far less and seem completely in control of their finances? It isn't luck, it isn't intelligence. And surprisingly, it isn't even about how much they earn. The biggest difference is how they think about money. Most financial advice teaches you little tricks. Spend less, invest more, save every dollar you can. Those ideas aren't wrong. They're just incomplete. If you've ever watched videos about money, you've probably heard the same advice repeated over and over again. People tell you to skip your morning coffee, stop eating out, or cut every little luxury from your life. While those habits can certainly help, they don't address the bigger picture. The truth is, there are people who follow every budgeting rule and still struggle financially. At the same time, there are people who seem to build wealth almost effortlessly. What's the difference? It's not because they discovered a secret investment or won the lottery. It's because they approach money differently. They don't just make better financial decisions. They've trained themselves to think differently before they ever spend, invest, or save a dollar. Real wealth comes from changing the way you see money itself. Once that shift happens, almost every financial decision becomes easier. Instead of constantly asking, "Can I afford this?" you begin asking, "Will this move me closer to financial freedom?" Instead of chasing every opportunity that promises quick money, you become more patient and more intentional. And instead of reacting emotionally every time money comes into your account, you begin giving every dollar a purpose. Those small mindset shifts don't look dramatic on a daily basis, but over 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, they completely change the direction of your financial life. In this video, I'll share 5 mindset shifts that quietly separate people who stay stuck from those who build lasting wealth. These aren't complicated financial formulas. You don't need an economics degree to understand them. In fact, some of the wealthiest people in the world follow these ideas in remarkably simple ways. The challenge isn't understanding them. The challenge is consistently applying them. As we go through each shift, I want you to think honestly about your own habits. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. This isn't about feeling guilty over past mistakes. Every successful investor, entrepreneur, and business owner has made financial mistakes. The important thing is recognizing where you are today and deciding where you want to go next. If even one of these ideas changes the way you make financial decisions, it could save or earn you thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Let's start with the one almost everyone gets wrong. Shift number 1. Stop chasing bigger paychecks. Most people believe a higher income automatically means a better financial life, but income alone tells you almost nothing. Imagine 2 people. One earns $80,000 each year and spends $45,000. The other earns $400,000 but burns through $395,000 trying to keep up appearances. Who sleeps better at night? Who has options if they lose their job? Who can invest? Who has freedom? The answer isn't the one with the bigger salary. It's the one with breathing room. That breathing room is one of the most underrated forms of wealth. It gives you choices. It allows you to leave a job you hate. It gives you the confidence to take calculated risks. It allows you to handle emergencies without panic. And perhaps most importantly, it gives you peace of mind. Money isn't valuable because of the things it buys. Money is valuable because of the options it creates. Someone with 6 months of living expenses saved has something that many high-income earners don't have. Time. Time to find a better job. Time to recover from setbacks. Time to think before making desperate decisions. That's real financial power. Every raise creates a choice. You can increase your lifestyle or increase your future. Most people don't even realize they're making this choice. The moment their income goes up, so do their expectations. A better apartment suddenly feels necessary. A luxury car starts looking reasonable. Expensive dinners become normal. The problem isn't buying nice things. The problem is buying them before you've built a financial foundation. Psychologists have a name for this: lifestyle inflation. As your income increases, your definition of normal quietly increases with it. The things that once felt luxurious eventually become ordinary. Then, your brain starts searching for the next upgrade. The cycle never ends unless you intentionally stop it. Unfortunately, many people celebrate raises by immediately upgrading everything around them. A nicer apartment, a newer phone, a luxury car, expensive vacations. Before long, their bigger paycheck disappears before they even see it. Instead of building wealth, they're simply building a more expensive lifestyle. Imagine receiving a $10,000 raise. Many people instantly commit themselves to new monthly payments. Instead, imagine pretending that raise never happened for just 6 months. Keep living exactly the way you already are. Use every extra dollar to pay off debt, build an emergency fund, or start investing. 6 months later, you've created financial momentum instead of financial pressure. That decision may not impress your neighbors, but your future self will thank you. Here's a simple exercise I'd encourage you to do after this video. Open your banking app. Look at last month's income. Now look at everything you spent. Not to criticize yourself, not to feel ashamed, simply to understand your current reality. Then ask yourself, what are 3 expenses I could reduce without making my life significantly worse? Notice I didn't say eliminate everything. This isn't about living a miserable life. It's about becoming intentional. Sometimes canceling one subscription you barely use is enough. Sometimes cooking at home 2 extra nights a week creates hundreds of dollars in savings over a year. Sometimes delaying one unnecessary purchase gives you enough money to start investing. Small decisions repeated consistently become massive results. Instead of asking, how can I make more money? Try asking, how can I keep more of what I already make? That single question has created more millionaires than most people realize. Because wealth isn't built from income. It's built from the space between earning and spending. Protect that space. Treat it like one of your most valuable financial assets. Because every dollar that remains in that gap has a job to do. It can eliminate debt. It can earn interest. It can buy investments. It can create opportunities. Or it can buy you freedom. The wider that gap becomes, the more control you gain over your future. And that's where real wealth begins. Shift number 2. Make time your most valuable investment. There's nothing wrong with enjoying nice things. The problem is buying them too early. Most people reward themselves with purchases that lose value. The wealthy usually reward themselves with purchases that create value. Think about it for a moment. When most people get a bonus at work, what do they immediately think about? A vacation, a new phone, designer clothes, a gaming console, a luxury watch, a newer car. Again, there's nothing inherently wrong with any of those purchases. If you've worked hard, it's perfectly reasonable to enjoy the rewards of your effort. The problem arises when those rewards delay your ability to create even greater opportunities. The wealthiest people often ask themselves a completely different question. Instead of asking, what do I want to buy? They ask, what can I buy that will make my life easier, my work more productive, or my future more profitable? That single shift in thinking changes everything. One of the best investments you can ever make isn't another gadget. It's time. Time is the only resource that every person receives in exactly the same amount. 24 hours. No matter how wealthy someone becomes, they never get 25. They can't save yesterday. They can't buy tomorrow. Once an hour is gone, it's gone forever. That's why successful people become incredibly protective of how they spend it. Every hour you spend doing low-value work is an hour you can't spend building your future. Think about your average weekday. How much of your day is actually spent doing work that moves your life forward? And how much is spent on repetitive tasks that simply keep you busy? Scrolling through emails, organizing files, cleaning, running errands, scheduling appointments, answering messages that don't really matter. Many of these tasks need to be done. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be the person doing them forever. Imagine hiring someone to handle repetitive tasks, automating work with software, delegating chores, outsourcing editing, bookkeeping, scheduling, or customer service. At first, it feels like spending money. In reality, you're buying hours. And those hours can be invested into learning new skills, growing your business, building relationships, or creating new income streams. This idea is difficult for many people to accept because we've been taught that saving money is always better than spending it. But sometimes spending $1 today creates $10 tomorrow. Imagine you spend 2 hours every Saturday mowing your lawn. Over the course of a year, that's more than 100 hours. Now imagine paying someone else to do that work while you spend those 100 hours learning a valuable skill, building an online business, studying for a promotion, or simply spending meaningful time with your family. Suddenly, that expense no longer looks like a luxury. It looks like an investment. Here's another example. Let's say you're a freelance graphic designer. You spend 6 hours every week answering emails, creating invoices, scheduling meetings, and organizing files. None of those activities directly earn you money. Now imagine hiring a virtual assistant for a few hours each week. That assistant frees up 6 hours. If you use those 6 hours to serve more clients or improve your skills, you've created leverage. That's one of the most important words in wealth building. Leverage. Leverage simply means accomplishing more without requiring more of your own time or effort. The wealthiest businesses in the world don't grow because the owners work 24 hours a day. They grow because they build systems. They hire talented people. They automate repetitive work. They create processes that continue producing results, even when they're not personally involved. You can begin applying that same principle in your own life, even if you're just getting started. Here's a simple exercise. For the next 3 days, write down everything you do. Not just work, everything. From the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep. Then divide every activity into one of 3 categories. The first category is growth. These are activities that improve your future. Learning, exercising, building a business, networking, reading, creating. The second category is maintenance. These are activities that keep your life functioning. Cooking, cleaning, paying bills, driving, shopping, answering routine emails. The third category is waste. Mindless scrolling. Watching videos you won't remember tomorrow. Checking your phone every 5 minutes. Doing things simply because you're bored. Once you've completed the exercise, you'll probably notice something surprising. Most people overestimate how much productive work they actually do. And they underestimate how much time disappears in small, seemingly harmless moments. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 20 minutes waiting, an hour of television before bed. Individually, those moments don't seem important. Together, they can consume hundreds of hours every year. Now ask yourself another question. Which of these maintenance tasks could eventually be delegated, automated, or simplified? Maybe grocery delivery saves you 2 hours every week. Maybe using AI helps you write emails faster. Maybe meal prepping every Sunday saves you hours throughout the week. Maybe creating templates eliminates repetitive work. The goal isn't to become lazy. The goal is to become intentional. There's another exercise that's equally valuable. Calculate what 1 hour of your time is worth. Take your annual income and divide it by the approximate number of hours you work in a year. Now, every task has a price. If your time is worth $50 an hour, does it really make sense to spend 2 hours assembling inexpensive furniture just to save $20? Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. The point isn't the furniture. The point is becoming aware of the trade-offs you're making every day. The most successful people constantly ask themselves, is this the highest and best use of my time? That's a powerful question, because sometimes the answer is no. And that's okay. You don't need to optimize every minute of your life. You don't need to turn every hobby into a business. You don't need to feel guilty about relaxing. Rest is productive, too. Spending time with your family is valuable. Going for a walk is valuable. Reading for enjoyment is valuable. The goal isn't to fill every minute with work. The goal is to eliminate the activities that steal your time without adding anything meaningful in return. Because here's the truth. Money comes and goes. You can lose money and earn it back. You can lose a job and find another one. You can lose an investment and recover, but you can never recover yesterday. That's why the wealthiest people don't just protect their money. They protect their calendar. Every hour you reclaim is another opportunity to build a better future. And once you begin thinking that way, you'll never look at your time the same way again. Because before you can build wealth, you have to build the freedom to create it. Shift number 3. Turn income into systems. There are 2 ways to earn money. You can trade your time, or you can own something that earns while you're asleep. That's the difference between income and assets. Assets continue producing value long after the work is finished. A rental property, shares in businesses, digital products, royalties, profitable companies, investments. These continue working even when you're not. At first, this idea sounds almost too good to be true. How can something continue making money when you're no longer working? The answer is simple. Someone, or something, is still creating value. Think about your favorite author. They may have written a book 10 years ago. Today, while they're asleep, someone on the other side of the world buys a copy. They earn money, not because they work today, but because they built an asset years ago. The same is true for musicians, software developers, course creators, investors, business owners, real estate investors, even YouTubers. A video uploaded today could continue earning income years from now. The work happens once. The value continues long afterward. That's the power of systems. If your income disappears the moment you stop working, you've built a job, not wealth. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a job. In fact, for most people, a job is where the journey begins. Your paycheck is your first investment tool. The mistake people make is believing that the paycheck is the destination. It's not. It's the fuel. Your salary should eventually help you build things that no longer depend entirely on your time. That's how financial freedom begins. Here's an easy way to see where you stand. Draw 2 columns. On the left, write time. On the right, write assets. Now list every source of income you have. Your salary, freelance work, side hustles, rental income, investments, business profits. Ask yourself one question. If I stopped working tomorrow, would this income continue? If the answer is no, write it under time. If the answer is yes, write it under assets. Don't be discouraged if almost everything ends up on the left side. That's where most people start. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. The goal isn't to eliminate time-based income. It's to use today's earnings to gradually build tomorrow's assets. That's how wealth compounds. Think of your paycheck as a worker. Every month it arrives with one job: to help you hire more workers. Those workers are your assets. Imagine every dollar you invest as an employee that never asks for a vacation, never calls in sick, never complains, and keeps working whether you're awake or asleep. At first, you might only have a few of these employees, but over time, they grow. One investment becomes 2. 2 become 10. 10 become 100. Eventually, your assets begin earning enough to buy even more assets. This is where compounding starts to feel almost magical. Albert Einstein is often credited with calling compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. Whether or not he actually said it, the idea remains incredibly powerful. Compounding doesn't just apply to investing. It applies to businesses, skills, relationships, reputation, content. Every valuable asset tends to build upon itself. That's why starting early matters so much. Let's look at a simple example. Imagine 2 friends. Sarah starts investing $300 every month at age 25. James waits until he's 35 because he wants to earn more first. Even if James invests more money each month later, Sarah may still end up with significantly more wealth simply because her investments had an extra decade to grow. Time is one of the greatest multipliers in finance, and unfortunately, it's the one thing nobody can buy back. That's why waiting for the perfect time is usually the most expensive decision. You don't need thousands of dollars to begin building assets. You simply need consistency. Maybe your first investment is a broad stock market index fund. Maybe it's buying equipment that helps you start a business. Maybe it's creating an online course. Maybe it's writing an ebook. Maybe it's purchasing software that increases your productivity. The important thing isn't the size of the first asset. The important thing is developing the habit of creating them, because every asset changes the relationship between your time and your income. Here's another exercise. Every time you receive income this month, pause before spending it. Ask yourself this question: what percentage of this money can I use to buy something that will pay me back? Maybe the answer is 5%. Maybe it's 10. Maybe it's just 1% because money is tight. That's okay. The percentage matters less than the habit. You're training yourself to think like an owner instead of only a consumer. Consumers spend. Owners build. And here's something that often surprises people. Many wealthy individuals don't appear wealthy at first. You might expect someone with millions of dollars to drive the newest luxury car or wear expensive designer clothes. Some do. Many don't. Why? Because they understand the difference between buying something that impresses people and buying something that increases their future earning potential. Every dollar has two possible jobs. It can buy today's comfort or tomorrow's freedom. Neither choice is automatically wrong. The key is balance. Enjoy your success. Celebrate milestones. Reward yourself. But don't allow every extra dollar to disappear into temporary pleasures. Let some of it go to work for you. One of the easiest mistakes to make is confusing possessions with wealth. A brand new sports car may look impressive, but if it's draining your finances every month, it's costing you freedom. Meanwhile, someone quietly investing a portion of every paycheck might not look wealthy today. But year after year, they're building something much more valuable. Eventually, there comes a point where your assets begin producing enough income to cover your expenses. When that happens, something incredible occurs. Your time becomes your own again. You no longer work because you have to. You work because you choose to. That's the real destination. Not early retirement, not luxury, not status. Freedom. The freedom to spend your days doing meaningful work. The freedom to take care of your family. The freedom to travel. The freedom to say no to opportunities that don't align with your values. Every asset you build is another step toward that life. And once you begin seeing your income as the seed instead of the harvest, you'll never look at a paycheck the same way again. Because true wealth isn't measured by how much money passes through your hands. It's measured by how many systems continue creating value long after you've finished the work. Shift number 4. Become difficult to replace. People often chase opportunities simply because they look profitable. That's a mistake. The greatest opportunities usually exist inside your own experience. Think about the industries you understand, the problems you've solved, the skills you've developed, the hobbies you've spent years learning. That's your advantage. Most people spend their lives looking for shortcuts. They're constantly searching for the next business idea, the next investment, the next trend, the next app, the next side hustle that promises to change everything. But here's what often happens. Just as they begin learning one skill, a new opportunity appears. So they abandon it. A few months later, another opportunity comes along. They jump again. Years pass. They've touched 100 different ideas, but mastered none of them. Meanwhile, Someone else quietly spends those same years becoming exceptional at one thing. Guess who usually builds more wealth? The person who became valuable. Because the marketplace rewards expertise, not curiosity alone. Think about the people you naturally trust. If you needed surgery, would you rather choose someone who's tried 20 different careers? Or someone who's spent 15 years mastering one specialty? The answer is obvious. The same principle applies in almost every industry. The people who earn the highest incomes usually aren't the ones who know a little about everything. They're the ones who know an incredible amount about something valuable. Many people underestimate how much knowledge they've already accumulated. They assume that because something comes naturally to them, it must be easy for everyone else. That's rarely true. Maybe you've spent years repairing cars, managing projects, teaching children, cooking professionally, programming software, growing a business, selling products, creating videos, writing, designing, marketing, negotiating, leading teams, whatever it is. You've built experience that someone else doesn't have, and experience is valuable. The challenge is recognizing it. When you deeply understand something, you notice opportunities that everyone else misses. A mechanic notices problems in a vehicle before anyone else hears the noise. An experienced chef tastes ingredients differently than an average customer. An architect sees possibilities inside an empty building. A skilled investor notices risks hidden inside attractive opportunities. Experience changes the way you see the world. That's why it's so powerful. Many people lose money because they invest in trends instead of knowledge. Someone tells them about crypto. Someone else recommends real estate. Another promises huge returns in a business they've never even heard of. Suddenly, everyone is talking about AI, or NFTs, or the latest investment everyone claims is guaranteed to explode. People rush in, not because they understand it, because they don't want to miss out. Fear of missing out has probably cost investors billions of dollars throughout history. Markets change, technologies evolve, new opportunities appear every year. But human psychology stays remarkably consistent. People become excited when prices are high. They panic when prices fall. They follow crowds instead of facts. Without understanding what you're investing in, you're gambling. That doesn't mean you should never learn something new. Far from it. You absolutely should. The difference is learning first, investing second, not the other way around. Imagine someone hands you the controls of a commercial airplane. Would you try flying it simply because someone promised you'd make money? Of course not. You'd spend months or even years learning first. Yet people invest their life savings into businesses or markets they know almost nothing about. Knowledge should always come before confidence. Before putting your money anywhere, ask yourself 2 questions. Do I genuinely understand this? Could I explain it clearly to someone else? If the answer is no, walk away. There will always be another opportunity. One of the most valuable financial habits you can develop is becoming comfortable saying no. No to opportunities that don't fit your strengths. No to investments you don't understand. No to businesses that look exciting but fall outside your expertise. Successful people aren't successful because they say yes to everything. They're successful because they protect their focus. Here's a practical exercise. Take out a notebook. Write down 10 things you've spent at least 1,000 hours doing throughout your life. Not 10 things you enjoy. 10 things you've actually invested time into. Maybe you've coached sports, worked in construction, played an instrument, sold products, managed people, edited videos, built websites, raised children, fixed electronics, learned another language. Anything counts. Now ask yourself another question. How could each one of these skills solve someone else's problem? Because money usually follows problem solving. People don't pay for information, they pay for outcomes. Nobody buys a drill because they love drills. They buy it because they want a hole in the wall. Nobody hires a personal trainer because they enjoy exercise. They hire them because they want better health. Nobody pays an accountant because taxes are fun. They pay for peace of mind. Once you understand the problem your knowledge solves, you begin seeing opportunities everywhere. Maybe that becomes consulting, maybe coaching, maybe freelancing, maybe creating digital products, maybe starting a business, maybe producing content online. The possibilities expand dramatically. The internet has made it easier than ever to monetize specialized knowledge. 20 years ago, your expertise was limited by your location. Today, someone on the other side of the planet can become your customer, your audience, or your client. That's an incredible advantage. But only if you've spent time becoming genuinely good at something. Remember, your goal isn't to know everything. It's to know something exceptionally well. Because exceptional knowledge creates exceptional value. And exceptional value creates exceptional opportunities. The people who build lasting wealth rarely spend their lives chasing every opportunity they see. Instead, they become so good at solving one important problem that opportunities begin chasing them. When you reach that point, you're no longer competing with everyone else. You've become difficult to replace. And in today's economy, that might be one of the most valuable assets you can ever build. Shift number 5. Build a legacy, not just a bank account. Money isn't meant to sit still. It moves. It circulates. Think about a river. A healthy river is constantly flowing. Fresh water moves in. Fresh water moves out. Life grows around it. Now imagine that same river being blocked. The water stops moving. Eventually it becomes stagnant. In many ways, money works the same way. When money flows into productive investments, businesses, communities, and opportunities, it creates more value. When it simply sits there out of fear, it often loses its ability to create growth. That doesn't mean you shouldn't save. Quite the opposite. Having an emergency fund is one of the smartest financial decisions you can make. Investing for the future is essential. Protecting yourself from unexpected setbacks is wise. But there comes a point where saving alone isn't enough. Money should eventually have a purpose. It should solve problems. It should build opportunities. It should improve lives. That includes your own life. But it shouldn't stop there. One of the biggest surprises people experience after becoming financially successful is realizing that buying more things doesn't create lasting happiness. The first new car feels exciting. The first luxury vacation feels unforgettable. The first expensive watch. The first designer outfit. The first dream house. Each one brings excitement. For a little while, then something interesting happens. The excitement fades. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. Human beings are incredibly good at adapting. The things that once felt extraordinary slowly become ordinary. The dream car eventually becomes your everyday car. The beautiful house simply becomes where you live. The expensive watch becomes just another accessory. That's why people who constantly chase bigger possessions often find themselves chasing happiness that never seems to last. There's nothing wrong with enjoying success. You've earned it. Celebrate milestones. Reward yourself. Travel. Experience life. Create memories. Just don't expect possessions to give your life lasting meaning. Meaning usually comes from contribution. From knowing that your success made someone else's life better. That contribution doesn't have to be millions of dollars. In fact, for most people, it won't be. Contribution begins long before wealth. Sometimes it's mentoring someone younger than you, helping a friend start a business, teaching someone a skill, volunteering in your community, supporting a local charity, giving someone an opportunity they wouldn't have had otherwise, sharing your knowledge, listening when someone needs advice, encouraging someone who's ready to quit. These things don't always cost money. but they create enormous value. One of the greatest misconceptions about generosity is that people believe they have to become wealthy before they can start giving. I'll donate when I make six figures. I'll volunteer when life slows down. I'll help people once I'm successful. But here's the problem. Habits don't magically appear after success. They're built before it. Someone who never gives $5 usually doesn't suddenly become generous when they have 5 million. Because generosity isn't about the amount, it's about the mindset. It's about recognizing that success isn't measured only by what you've accumulated. It's also measured by what you've contributed. Here's a challenge I'd encourage you to try this week. Find one way to create value for someone else without expecting anything in return. Maybe you help a coworker solve a problem. Maybe you recommend someone for a job. Maybe you teach a friend something you've learned. Maybe you buy lunch for someone who's struggling. Maybe you simply express gratitude to someone who's had a positive impact on your life. These actions may seem small, but they create something incredibly powerful: relationships. And relationships are one of the most valuable assets you'll ever build. Think about nearly every major opportunity you've ever had: a job, a client, a partnership, a recommendation, a mentor, a business deal. Chances are, a person played a role. Opportunities often travel through people. The stronger your relationships, the more opportunities tend to find you. That's one reason generosity matters. People remember how you made them feel. They remember who helped them, who believed in them, who supported them before anyone else did. Your reputation becomes an asset, one that continues creating opportunities for years. Another exercise I'd recommend is writing your own definition of wealth. Not society's definition, yours. Grab a notebook and answer these questions honestly. How much money would be enough for you to feel secure? What would your ideal day actually look like? Who would you spend your time with? What kind of work would you choose if money weren't the deciding factor? What impact would you want to leave behind? These questions matter because too many people spend decades climbing a ladder, only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. Success without purpose often feels empty. Purpose gives success direction. Eventually, you'll realize something important. Money is a tool, not the destination. A hammer isn't valuable because you own it. It's valuable because of what you can build with it. Money works the same way. It can buy comfort. It can buy convenience. It can buy experiences. It can create opportunities. It can fund education. It can help your family. It can build businesses. It can support causes you care about. Its greatest value isn't in being collected. It's in being used wisely. And that's what brings us to the final lesson. These 5 mindset shifts won't change your financial future overnight. No strategy will. Building wealth is remarkably similar to planting a tree. You don't plant a seed today and expect shade tomorrow. You water it, protect it, stay consistent, trust the process, and over time, the results become impossible to ignore. Let's quickly bring everything together. First, stop chasing bigger paychecks. Instead, focus on increasing the gap between what you earn and what you spend, because that gap is where wealth begins. Second, treat your time like your most valuable investment. Spend less of it on low-value activities and more of it on the things that improve your future. Third, turn your income into systems. Build assets that continue creating value long after you've finished the work. Fourth, become difficult to replace. Master valuable skills. Stay curious. Keep learning. Double down on the knowledge that makes you uniquely valuable. And finally, remember that wealth isn't just about what you keep. It's also about what you create, what you contribute, and the lives you improve along the way. Because at the end of the day, very few people are remembered for the size of their bank account. They're remembered for the opportunities they created, the people they helped, the businesses they built, the problems they solved, and the legacy they left behind. Now here's my challenge for you. Don't try to apply all 5 shifts tomorrow. That's how people become overwhelmed. Instead, choose just one. The one that stood out to you the most. The one you know you've been avoiding. Maybe it's finally creating a budget. Maybe it's investing for the first time. Maybe it's learning a valuable new skill. Maybe it's starting that business you've been thinking about for years. Or maybe it's simply becoming more intentional with every dollar you earn. Whatever it is, take one action within the next 24 hours. Because information alone has never changed anyone's life. Action does. And years from now, you'll rarely regret the smart financial decisions you made today. But you may regret the ones you kept postponing. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Start with what you have. Start where you are. And let consistency do the rest. If you found this video valuable, let me know down in the comments which of these 5 mindset shifts resonated with you the most. I genuinely love to hear your thoughts. And if you're serious about building lasting wealth, make sure you're subscribed because we've got plenty more videos designed to help you think differently, make smarter financial decisions, and create a future you'll be proud of. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.